good morning, and welcome to Elevensies, the late morning show with Lisa and Anton. I'm Anton.
And I'm Lisa.
And this is our new time.
Our new time slot, which is still 11.
It's 11, but we decided to move it to Saturday so more folks could have chance of actually viewing us. So on that note, we'll see, I believe we're live on both platforms today.
Seem to be live on Facebook, so that's cool.
I'm going to nip over to the Tuber U and see what's going on here. And
there you go.
Well, we're supposed to be live, so we'll see. Looks that way. Oh, look, people are joining us now.
There we
So
go.
maybe it takes a moment or three.
It is Saturday. So what happens is, you've got to get your coffee or your tea.
Coffee.
And hi Tina, good morning. So every Saturday morning at 11, we'll be doing our little live show.
Yes.
And the last Saturday of the month, we'll be coming to you from the shop, because the last Saturday of the month is our psychic fair.
Psychotic fair.
But I remember when I was a kid, I used to get my bowl of cereal. Excuse me. Get my bowl of cereal and go into the living room, and it was time to watch cartoons. So we're going to kind of be your adult.
In front of the TV tube, gnawing on your popsicle. Is that the idea?
We're going to be your adult esoteric Saturday morning cartoon program.
Yes. Oh, that was a line. Oh, what was it? Something like, when you're walking on eggs, don't hop. It was one of those classic things. I think it was a film with Clint Eastwood in it. I can't really remember.
I don't know.
I honestly can't remember. So I was doing this job when you was sitting in front of the TV tube, gnawing on your popsicle, watching Bugs Bunny or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I'm not Bugs Bunny.
No.
But there you go.
No, but we thought that...
Good morning, Wendy.
We thought that Monday morning would be a little tricky for people. A lot of people are at work and they don't have a break and things like that. So
we got to get people used to the idea that we move. We did put a note up there, but it seems there's more people joined us on the Book of Face as yet, and YouTube's playing catch up.
There's a lot of things we could have done, but of course we were chasing our tail all week.
Always.
So we didn't.
Always.
But we will for next week. We'll put out a little bit of advertising for it.
I guess we could.
All right.
So what are we talking about today on our wonderful show?
Well, I'm going to say, the first thing I'm going to do is quote Terry Pratchett and say that magic is still magic, even if you know how it's done.
I love Terry Pratchett.
So I thought that's a wonderful quote. Magic is still magic.
Still magic, even if you know
how it's done.
Yeah.
So, as good little witches, we are supposed to know how magic is done. Let's see who we got here. Some people are joining.
Hello, Gilda.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Gilda. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Tina. All right. So as good little witches, we're supposed to know how magic is done. And it is true that even once the mystery comes out of the magic, it still feels like a miracle. It still feels like magic was done. And if you know how it's done and you do the magic, all the better. Because then you feel magical too. And Goddess knows that right now, a lot of us could really benefit from feeling magical.
Oh, and how? I think all of us feel a little beaten and drawn, don't we? You know, it has to be said.
I'm a little under the weather. I'm still on these medications for my heart, and
knock the crap out of you.
I'm not feeling very well today. So please excuse me. I'm having a allergic reaction and
always,
and a bit of coughiness. Somebody else.
Hello, Amber.
Amber's over there. All right. So Anton, why don't you talk to us about the power of positive thinking?
I'll give it a go. Certainly something that I subscribe to, definitely. Something's a problem if you perceive it to be a problem. You know, oh, look at me, look at this grief, look at all this hassle I have to do, look at this, look at, and where's your energy going? You're focused.
Whatever you're focused
There's
right your magic.
You're focused right on the difficulty of the task in front of you. And it gets harder and becomes more difficult. Because you're seeing a problem. Everywhere you look, you've got a problem. Oh, look, there's another problem. There's another, and this, and now I have to, and would you believe it?
And the task just gets bigger, doesn't it?
And it snowballs. It turns into an absolute chuffing nightmare. And yet you meet these people occasionally that go along and they're just like, oh gosh, where did that person find that kind of optimism, if you will? How come they're just like, everything goes so easily for them? Why come they don't have to struggle? Well, I'll let you into a little secret. It's all up here. It's all headology,
They
which
still
is also
have all that work to do, but they're just looking at it in a different way.
It is, and it's another, kudos and props to Terry Pratchett. I think he was the guy who came up with the word headology.
Right.
In his Three Witches, because most witchcraft is headology, and it really is what gets in your head, but it's your head that controls the rest of it, if you will. I mean, we'll talk about heart in there as well, but definitely your head is the thing that governs things. How you perceive something, how you see it, becomes your reality. It becomes manifest as your reality.
You see from where you're standing.
Exactly. And what you see is what you get. What you focus on comes into focus. And it really is that simple. I know it sounds terribly trite. I know it sounds terribly like, you've got to be kidding me. That's all there is to it? Yes, that's all there is to it. If you approach something with a degree of optimism, if you expect a good result, chances are you're going to get that good result, because it's not a one-step fire and forget thing. It's test and adjust, test and adjust. You have to make adjustments as you go, and things aren't quite working right. You don't go, oh my God, the car's going to come off the side of the road. You take the steering wheel and you steer the car back into the center of the road. Mm-hmm. That's all you do. And if we approach that, and we do that without any sense of fuss or drama, and we just do it with a smile, you'd be amazed how better things get.
Right. It's what you believe is going to happen. I think it's even in Matthew 16.
Oh gosh, you got me there.
I don't know.
Not a book I'm overly familiar with.
I'm sort of losing my Bible quotology. Sorry, Mom. But I think it's Matthew 16 that says, when you believe, you shall receive.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Probably.
I'd have to go look, but I
I
know
bet
it's
you're
in
gonna
Matthew.
Go look now, aren't you?
Well, probably, yeah.
There are some good bits of philosophy in there.
Well, they stole it from the pagans.
It's philosophy.
Anyway, but we wanted to talk today about some of the things that are going on that we would look at astrologically or astronomically. They are the same subject. And how they might be affecting or useful to people. So when we look, I know I've been on this soapbox a while, but we might have some new viewers. And when we look at an age, it's about 2,000 years long, right? We had the age of Aries and the age of Pisces we were just in. And now we've moved into the age of Aquarius. And I'm sure a lot of you remember that song from the musical Hair. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Okay. Well, when we're talking about a 2,000-year period, there's a progression to it, or steps to it, right? For example, if I wanted to be in the kitchen, I could focus on being in the kitchen, and I would start to take steps towards the kitchen, but I wouldn't just instantly go from here through that door into the kitchen. So if we could look at the age of Aquarius and say that from around 1958, 59, the universe was focused on moving, well, our little universe, our solar system, whatever, our planet was focused on moving into the age of Aquarius. So we took a step into that doorway. And we had to be in that doorway for a tick on a clock, which we're used to seeing be about 60 seconds, a minute, or a tick. But that tick in a 2,000-year period, we would estimate to be about 60 years long.
Yeah, probably would equate to about a second in 2,000
So if
years,
we're
isn't it?
talking like 1958, 1959, 1960 to now, we're in about a 60-year period, give or take a few years, right? So it's like Anton was saying, this test and adjust, or this movement that isn't instantaneous, especially when we're talking about moving from one age to another age, or one eon to another eon.
Right.
Right? So we can start to see all the things that we might equate with Aquarius. And we can see them playing out, human rights, women's rights, racial equality, freedom, all these kind of things that, good morning, Kay, all these kind of things that people want for humanity.
But there's always a massive pushback whenever there's a change.
Right,
there's that pushback.
But
isn't
we look at all the things. I mean, maybe if we said we'll start with Eisenhower's presidency, that was probably the dawn of the age of Aquarius, around that time, that as the clock was going to step. So
he was the end of the 50s,
yeah,
into the 60s.
He was really focused on infrastructure and making it easier for people to get around, and giving people a little bit of freedom, and getting people to, at least be mobile state to state, because I think he probably realized that the more different cultures we were exposed to, the more open we would be towards each other, right? And you kind of notice that reflected today with people who have traveled around the world or lived in different places. They're much more open to people from other cultures or immigrants, because they know that people are people. And again, this is that whole age of Aquarius humanity thing.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And we could look at, the hippies and free love and all that kind of stuff, and we could see that people were really focused on freedom, no more war, right? JFK had this vision for space exploration, but he was also the guy who had the nuclear Bay of Pigs invasion stuff.
Oh, yeah, before my time, but
yeah. So we can kind of see, if we looked at each current events, we look at the president to kind of see what I would call the current events. We can see that there's been this lead up in the doorway to where we are now, with all the things that are happening. And some of you probably remember me talking about the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And Jupiter and Saturn come together about once every 20 years. And in 200-year increments, they move through the elements, right? So in other words, there would be 200 years where every time they came together in fire signs. And then there was 200 years where every time they came together in water signs. And then there was 200 years up until 2000, May of 2000, where they came together in earth signs.
Oh, wow.
And December, the solstice, this past, I don't know now, I lost track, it might have been, it was 2020. Sorry.
2020 Celsius? 2020, 21?
2020, because it's every 20 years. 2020, they came together in Aquarius. So starting the reign of every 20 years coming together in air signs. And to me, that marked, and I talk about that because I see the ticks on the clock, and then I look at what's happening astrally, and I say, that, it's a mark in time. So the solstice 2020 to me was the mark in time where both feet got into that doorway, and we knew we were going to be stepping forward. And I think that the end marker for just that tick on the clock to mark the next 60 years of the first step is going to be when Pluto moves into Aquarius.
Oh, right.
So right now, Pluto is in Capricorn. And it's been there for several years because Pluto's orbit is elliptical. It can be in the same sign for,
Considerable period
oh,
of
more
time.
than a decade. Yeah. So if we think about Capricorn, Capricorn is Saturn energy, but it's structure, right? It's the, sorry to say, hidden agendas. Yeah.
Ulterior motive for your
Ulterior
hidden
motives,
agenda.
hidden agendas, secret need for power, and it's a karmic sign because it's ruled by Saturn, and it rules the banking system, right? Capricorn holds the banking system, and look at what 2008. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff when we look at not just the United States banking system, but globally. We've had
got
the euro, cryptocurrencies, so you
non-fungible
can,
tokens, all that interesting stuff.
it's pretty wild when you think about it. So Pluto is making like its last little step in its own doorway from Capricorn into Aquarius. So Pluto's in the last few degrees of Capricorn. It's fighting an amazing fight. And we can see the stuff that's going on with Ukraine.
Yeah.
And sanctions and all these things are part of this teethy part of Capricorn when it's combined with Pluto. Because Pluto's energy is kind of like Kali, the destroyer creator. So even though it might obliterate something the way we know it, it's going to give the gift of new seeds and new structure. And
can we afford a bit of a digression? Because you say Pluto, and you've heard the word oligarch of late a lot. There's another word, isn't it? It's Plutarch.
Yeah.
And a Plutarch is somebody who's immensely wealthy but made their money from buried treasure, what lies beneath. And both Lisa
very
and I,
Plutonian. Yep.
yeah, both. Well, that's the whole thing. The plutonium is really, really heavy. It's like it's it's deep, it's heavy, it's dense.
Oh, I said Plutonian, but
Oh,
yes, plutonium, absolutely.
Plutonium is that?
That's why it got its name, probably.
Yeah. Oh goodness gracious me! Where was I going with this? So we've been we talk about stuff. We talk about world events, and when this whole thing was kicking off, I said to Lisa, I really feel in my gut that this is about what lies beneath, what's buried underneath there, and that the people are just in the way.
Azov,
and the Sea of Azov and the Crimea and the Donbass in that area. I suspect, I believe there's immense buried wealth in terms of what I don't know, but natural resources, something that will probably change the world, totally. And somebody's got wind of it, and they want all that buried treasure and sod everybody who's getting in the way. And usually that's what it comes down to. Wars are usually religion or money, And these are the same people, they're Slavic.
Yeah.
These are the same people. They honor the same gods. They look the same. They speak the same language.
Yes, but we're having these crimes against humanity.
Aren't we?
Because the next sign Pluto's going to move into is humanity.
Right.
So you have this battle at the end. So Pluto will go retrograde in Capricorn the end of this month. Backtrack, right? Like a slingshot. Pull it back. And then it's going to move forward again. Sorry. And it won't be moving into Aquarius until March of 2023. But I think so next spring, we've got another whole year to go, but next spring I think we'll see a lot more I'm going to say it'll take a little time, but global government, right? Where right now we in the United States we have people at a state level and people at a federal level, right? So we have like governors, mayors, and they representatives, But I feel that globally, country leaders will have more of a unified voice, right? So like we've got NATO and the United Nations, we'll have a global platform.
Like a world council.
A world council, yeah.
Where humanity finally realizes the value of humanity, and not just that, the value of everything in the world, and if we don't look after it, we ain't going to be here.
Right, but understand what I'm saying. That's not going to happen in an instant. It doesn't mean that this is going to happen next spring, but it means that Pluto is in that doorway, and it'll take maybe 10 or 12 years for that kind of structure to happen. But I do go out on the limb and make that prediction. But what I wanted to talk about today was the current events astrologically that are coming up for us to take full advantage of, to understand how magic works and make the magic work. So we have seen in these last several years many things happening with the planets that are generational, and many things happening with the planets that are longer periods of time than a generation. For example, what's happening on the 12th of this month, in just a few days, so that's Tuesday, is something that won't happen again for another 166 years.
It's more than a generation.
So this is something for you to take complete advantage of, right?
Go on then, what's happening?
All right, so the first planet I'm going to talk about is Jupiter. Now Jupiter is known as the Great Benefic, right? It looks, when we look at its glyph, it kind of looks like a 4, but it's really a cup or a vessel. It gives form to things, right? It says, what do you want to grow? What do you want to focus on? What's important to you? What do you want to expand? And Jupiter expands everything, good or bad. So if there's a Jupiter aspect or a Jupiter mark happening and you're in a real funk, you might get funkier, right? So Tuesday, be mindful of the power of positive thinking. And Tuesday, this is when Jupiter, who's the ancient ruler of Pisces, right? When we could only see up to Saturn, because that's what we could see with the naked eye, Jupiter was assigned to Pisces. And Jupiter will be in Pisces on the 12th at 23 degrees. However, something else. This is the aspect that won't happen again for 166 years, is that Neptune will be 23 degrees Pisces. So Neptune is considered the modern ruler of Pisces. So we have Jupiter in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces in what's called a conjunction, or some astrologers, because it's the same degree, would say they are combust. So when two planets come together in conjunction, it means the two operate as one. So we have the ancient ruler of Pisces and the modern ruler of Pisces, the great benefic Jupiter, the planet of expansion, connecting with Neptune. Now, Neptune is known as the higher octave of Mercury, which means it's about creativity and commerce. It's also like that depth of soul energy, right? Again, kind of what's going on beneath the surface. When you look into somebody's eyes and you can really tell there's an old soul in there, that's Neptune energy. So Neptune, your dreams. What's in your soul? What's your soul's purpose? What do you really want to create? Is going to have a gift from Jupiter that says, I can make magic. What is it that you want to expand? So we also have the moon waxing because we're going to have the full moon the end of that week. So we have that kind of emotional positive growth. So Tuesday would be an excellent day for you to wake up and choose happy.
It's probably a good thing to choose.
Because many times when we first start moving around and think of what our day is going to be, we don't always choose happy. But you have the right on Tuesday to choose happy. And I would love it if you set aside a place. If you don't have an altar to work from, like, we have our little altar here that we work for public, and we also have a private altar.
We do.
And, maybe you have a candle or crystal or something that you would consider sacred or magical piece of something that you use to manifest your magic. And take a paper and write down what's in your soul. What do you want to manifest, right? And use words like, I desire, I would love, or I love, or I am.
I am is
right?
the most powerful statement.
And just make a little list of the things that you want to see happen. And you could include, I would love world peace. I would love for people to love each other. Whatever it is that you want to write on that paper. And put it on your altar, either fold it under the candle that you're going to burn or under a crystal. Or if you don't have an altar, just in a place where you're going to notice it, throughout that day. If you have to go to work, put it in your pocket. Or for girls, I say put it in your vault, put it in a pouch and put it in the vault. And just focus on it throughout that day, as this aspect is so strong to really manifest things. You've got Jupiter, the planet of expansion, in Pisces. You've got Neptune, the dream facilitator, the creator, in Pisces. So you've got all that beautiful energy to harvest. Venus is also in Pisces, but it's at an earlier degree. So that, again, kind of, the aspects on Tuesday are beautiful. And use that to your advantage. All the planets are direct, right?
It's still magic, even if you know how it works.
It's still magic, even if you know how it works.
On Tuesday, you're going to be a magical person, and you're going to determine how your day goes forward. So when you wake up on Tuesday, you're going to go, okay, today is going to be epic.
Right? It's going to mark things that are happening. So also, we're going to do our cards a little bit differently today.
We are? Mm-hmm. Oh, thanks for letting me know.
So
it's on a need-to-know basis, and apparently I don't.
So I'd like you to think of something that you want to know about. Just take a moment and think of something that you want to know about. And then I'm going to take 3 cards out.
Okay.
All right. So there's card number 1. There's card number 2. And there's card number 3. So think about something that you'd like to know about. And then think about whether you want what's behind door number 1.
Door number 2.
Door number 2.
Or door
number 3. And think about that for a moment. And, you could come back to this every once in a while if you wanted to.
You could.
Once you forget what the 3 cards are, you could come back and pick a card. So when you think about your question, think about if your answer is number 1, number 2, or number 3. Right? So later on, if you want to use this again, you could just write 1, 2, or 3 on a piece of paper and shake them up and pick whatever number, and that's your answer.
There you go.
All right.
You could do that.
So, so this could be useful more than just this coming week, is what I'm trying to say. All right. So number 1, number 2, or number 3. So I'm going to go first and read number 1.
All right then.
Number 1 is about harvesting that which you have inherited, right? So inheritance doesn't always mean physical things, right? It doesn't have to be inheriting an estate or property or an item. Inheritance can be positive qualities, right? You know, if your dad was an artist, maybe you inherited some artistic ability. If your mom was a fantastic cook and baker, maybe you inherited some of that quality. So card number 1's message is think about ancestry, lineage, lessons, and what family stood for, or what family in general stands for. And what is it that you can pull forward from your ancestors to manifest that which you would like to harvest? That's number 1. Would you like to read card number 2?
Sure. Oh, hello. Considering what, considering what we started with this morning about seeing from where you're standing, this card is the epitome of this. This allegedly is Odin, who tied himself upside down from Yggdrasil, the world tree, to receive enlightenment. Whenever this card comes up in a reading for me, it necessitates somebody needing to change their perspective. If you can't find the way forward, it's because you're looking and all you're seeing is the thing that is straight in front of you. You know, you literally can't see the wood for the trees, you know, or you can't see the trees for the wood, or whatever. You know what I mean? You're like, you're too close to it. Your vision is obscured. You haven't. So step to the side, turn it on its head, do something differently, and you will get a very clear perspective of how to move forwards. And this is also about expanding your mind, because you will notice he forms the glyph of Jupiter. So this fits in really, really well. So you know, this is about
Giving form to your thoughts.
Informing your thoughts, giving form to your thoughts, allowing your thoughts to form your sense of action from there as well. So this is a really powerful card. And it does say that if you think it, you can do it. You can actually, you know, but you've got to get that enlightenment. You've got to, if need be, change your perspective to do that. All right? That would be me.
And those who chose card number 3, this is about healing.
Oh, okay.
So this is the great Archangel Raphael, God's healer. And he stood to offer masculine and feminine energy healing, right? So this is about knowledge and the use of energy. So if, in answer to your question, if you chose number 3, perhaps there's something you need to learn in order to make the most of it. But this card is about making the most of what you have and working towards true healing, mind, body, and spirit. Understanding how to connect with that energy, and that all that's going on, that's coming into our bodies spiritually, mentally, emotionally, is coming into our physical body. So in order to achieve good health, we have to have a good connection to spirit, a good understanding of that stuff, and a balance in our emotional, thought process, or our emotional understanding, our heart center. So the Lovers is not necessarily about meeting your soulmate. The Lovers is about how to truly love yourself and heal yourself. So there we have it. Card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3.
I'll turn that the other way up then, because that's the way they go.
All right. So
go.
Elevensies from now on is going to be on Saturday morning at 11. And we will do our cards this way so that more people have an opportunity and you can come back to get things. Please do yourself a favor and harness that beautiful astrological energy that's available this coming week. And, this will take you through to the full moon, and on the full moon you can do another really intense positive spell.
Yep, we're magical beings, and you know what? It's still magic, even if you know how it works. Even if you know
how it works.
It
all right.
really is.
So thank you all so much for joining us this morning. I hope we were at least as entertaining as your Saturday morning
Cartoons.
or
Well,
Wonderama, for those who remember that. You know.
I'm sure some people would love an anvil to drop on me, but it's not going to happen. Hopefully,
Right.
not today anyway.
So,
Gilda, you're right. Generational changes, definitely.
Absolutely.
There are some things that are definitely
Absolutely. A lot
generational.
of wild stuff is coming, so keep an eye on it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for
Peace
watching.
and
Have a
blessed
beautiful,
be.
beautiful